This, of course, will be my last entry. Strange emotions. I'm happy and sad at the same time. Like many times in my life, both good and bad. Times when the sorrow of an event was overcome by a strange sort of exhilaration at the prospect of something new, something different. But now, of course, just the opposite is true. My silly little quest is over. I'm as happy as I could possibly be about being here right now, and yet a certain sadness has washed over me all of a sudden. Sounding like Fiona now. Oh, she would have liked that phrase, I suppose. She'd have liked this feeling, too. Bittersweet, she'd called it. Bittersweet. I should have known when I first opened the letter. From Crabtree and Wilkins of London, no less. It even sounded like a damn Gothic. The lonely heroine inherits an English castle and swashbuckles and loves her way through a fairy tale adventure. I mean, who ever inherited a damn mill in their life? How was I supposed to be ready for any of this? Didn't even know my great-aunt. Never met her. Blood's thicker, I suppose. They had to hunt me down 5,000 miles away, cross the damn ocean for Christ's sake. Hunted me down. Here's your mill. Thank you very much. Crabtree and Wilkins of London.
Excuse me. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. Are you all right?
Hey, well, I was feeling pretty bad just a second ago, but right now as I'm seeing you standing there, things could be looking up.
What?
What, you didn't hear me just now?
I didn't follow you just now.
Hey.
Oh, are you all right?
I wasn't, but I'm getting better now.
Good.
Now that you're standing there.
Good.
I'm in the flesh.
Now, see, here's what gets a little screwed up.
What's that?
This flesh business.
I wasn't feeling good, but now things are definitely looking up, no doubt about it.
Excuse me?
Of course, that was my problem, weren't it?
What?
Looking up, that's when I banged my head.
Oh, right.
Right, now, did you bring it with you?
What's that?
The check?
What check?
Right. Well, now, missus, let me tell you one more time how we do things in this part of the world. Now, I fix your husband's motor car, and he pays me for it. He doesn't come by in the middle of the night and scamper off with it, airplane tickets to New York notwithstanding.
Now, just
now,
wait a minute.
you seem like a pretty nice person on the telephone. I wouldn't want to be misjudging you.
I'm not her.
Who?
Whoever you think I am, I'm not her.
Ms. Henderson.
No, I'm Danforth. Leslie Danforth.
But you're an American.
Yes.
From Connecticut.
No, from Michigan.
You're not living with your husband on Church Lane for 6 months.
I'm not living with my husband on Church Lane or anywhere else for however long.
Ah.
I told you, I am Leslie Danforth, and
You need some work done, eh?
No, actually.
You're the American.
Well, one of them, apparently.
The owner, the new owner.
Yes.
I pictured you much older.
Oh.
Now you're here, eh?
Well, apparently.
What's up?
What do you mean, what's up? I'm here to...
To claim your property.
Yes.
You're not gonna live here, are you?
No.
I didn't think so.
Why not?
Dunno.
Seems like a perfectly nice place to live.
Oh, aye, it is.
Except...
What's that?
Who are you?
Oh no, I didn't know. No, I'm sorry. I'm James. James McElroy. Oh, sorry about that. Hazard to the trade.
It's all right.
But surely you've heard of me, eh?
No.
You haven't?
Should I?
Well, no. I don't know, I suppose. No need. I'm only a mechanic with a wee little garage.
Oh, so you own this part of the building?
No.
Oh, you lease it?
No.
You rent it?
No.
Well, whose is it then?
Well, I suppose it's yours, isn't it?
Mine?
Aye. Apparently.
Jet lag's a funny thing. Plays tricks on you. 1 minute you're fine, and then before you know it, your brain turns to mush and you fall asleep for 3 or 4 hours. It causes other things too. Jet lag, sleep deprivation, change of environment, whatever you want to call it. Maybe a combination of a lot of things. Anyway, I wasn't ready for it. That night, when I was going through an old trunk load of things that were left to me, things as strange and foreign to me as if they were artifacts from Mars or somewhere, until I opened it for the first time, of course. Then all of these things were as familiar and true and as real to me as if I'd known them forever. I remember the first words I'd read. How could I forget? That night I took the book to bed with me and read those very first words over and over till I fell asleep. Fell asleep with her book, her life, in my arms.
The sky burst forth all aglow with the evening sun. The rainy gloom of the day ruptured into a crescendo of light and birdsong. I thought not about my boots and my dress as I walked over the sodden ground. My heart was lifted above such earthbound cares. My senses were strung so tightly that the slightest breath of air might play upon them in musical reverie. The Cathedral of Skopend seemed to pierce the retracting clouds as I pondered the possibilities of my life. Then I felt I could melt into the ground and become one with the earth. And yet part of me would simper away, high above this sylvan scene below, to the top of Campbell's and Maidenmore, and there I'd survey the unspeakable beauty spread out below me as the sun set slowly, imperceptibly over Scar Crags and Causey Pike. As night approached, the birds continued. Dozens of songs diminished one by one. But I could not give myself up to the beauty before me, for as I closed my eyes upon nature's wonder, my heart was heavy laden with temporal thoughts. I could not bring myself to contemplate the sweetness of this most precious evening. And there, high atop the valley, I sat and wept 100 tears as the sun slowly set into the outline of the northern fells.
Good morning to you.
Oh, you heard me then.
Hi.
I didn't want to startle you again.
Well, that's very nice of you to be sure. Would you be wanting some breakfast?
Well, what do you mean?
Eggs and rashers, toast and jam. Certainly you've heard of them, eh?
I know what you mean, but how? Where?
Over there in my kitchen. Where else?
Well, I thought Denny's or McDonald's or some... Oh, no, never mind.
Right. Won't be a minute.
Hey, wait a minute. Where are you going?
We seem to have a communication problem here. Our brains are working at cross purposes. You see, that's me kitchen over there. That's where the food is kept, and the cooker, and the knives and forks as well.
Well, I know what you mean, but you've work to do here.
Aye, plenty of work, touch wood. But first things first, and right now, I'll be making you a first-class fry-up. Won't be a minute.
Later, over salty eggs and cold toast, he told me his story. Part of it, anyway. The rest I found out later, of course. But for the moment, all I knew was that I had somehow inherited a mill that hadn't been a mill for over 60 years, that was a vacation apartment on one end, a car repair on the other, and one mechanic who lived in the middle, a mechanic I had apparently inherited as well. I also remember that I sat there for a while after he left. I looked around at his kitchen, the kitchen he'd shared with my great-aunt for the last 10 years of her life, 97 when she died. I ache now when I think that I never knew her, never saw or heard her anyway, because I'd come to know her very well through her words, her journal that I'd read the night before and would read until I finished it completely, finished it utterly and hungered for more of her thoughts. And the reason she returned to this place after studying abroad for many years, and for more of her words.
Thanks for breakfast.
That is quite all right.
I envy you.
What, you fancy owning a garage, do you?
No.
How so, then?
Well, you knew her. My aunt, my great aunt.
Aye, that I did.
And you cared for her.
No, that I did not.
No?
No, she needed no care, that one. No, she'd throttle you if you raised a finger. Aye, she did it all herself, she did. Cooking, cleaning, washing up, keeping the place fit.
Oh, but she was in good health then.
Oh, aye, perfect. Till she died, anyhow. Aye. It all came on sudden, like. She never knew what it was got her in the end.
Did you ever read her journal?
What's that?
Her journal, her diary. I found it in some of her things.
Oh, no, I wouldn't do that.
Why not?
Well, it's personal, isn't it?
She's dead, isn't she?
Aye, that she is.
Well, I'm enjoying it.
Oh, well then.
So you knew her for 10 years?
Aye, 10 years from the day I signed the lease on my garage.
So you rented this from her?
Oh, aye. Till she stopped cashing me checks, anyhow.
What?
I chide her for it, but she wouldn't have none of it, nope. No, she never cashed a check of mine. After the first couple of years.
Nice deal for you, huh?
Oh, aye.
I have to sell it, you know, the mill.
Aye. I thought as much.
She owed a lot of money.
Aye, it doesn't surprise me.
They say if I sell it now, I could realize just a small profit.
Oh, yes.
But if I wait, it could be worse.
Oh, I see.
Now, you wouldn't be interested in buying it, would you?
Well, my bank manager would have a thing or two to say about that.
No way?
I could just about afford that old millstone over there, that's about it.
Well, too bad.
Ah, yes.
Solicitor says the only way to sell it is to remodel it into, vacation apartments?
What, the garage, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that makes sense, doesn't it?
That's what he said.
I mean, who'd want to be buying a garage?
Exactly.
Not much brass and working on motors in these parts.
No?
Oh, no. Folks all wanting computer readouts and such like.
Oh, yeah.
Mind you, I wouldn't mind having one if I had a few extra quid to spare.
Oh, yeah?
Aye. I got a few bob tied up in this place as it is.
Oh. Oh, but it's paid for.
Well, not quite.
What would you do then?
I'm not with you.
When I sell the mill?
Oh, I see. Well, find somewhere else, I suppose, eh?
But where?
Don't know. Go to work in town, I suppose. Work on a computer, eh? Analyze engine readouts and such like. No end to the possibilities, eh?
Yeah.
Look, you do what you got to do. You know it, and I know it, all right?
Yeah, all right.
Right.
Thanks
What for?
for making this easy.
Oh, I see.
I don't enjoy this, you know.
No, of course not.
But I can't think of any other way. Can you?
No.
Okay. And you're going to be all right.
I'll be fine. You do what you got to do.
Maybe I could wait a couple of days.
Ah, yes.
Hang around a while.
Sure.
I'm due for some vacation time.
Ah, yes.
Well, I'm on vacation now, of course, but I could extend it a couple of days.
Sure.
Oh, it is pretty here, isn't it?
Aye, that it is.
I couldn't believe I was doing this. Why was I delaying the inevitable? Well, now I know. I hadn't finished her journal, Fiona's journal. I'd only just begun it. And besides, I think even then there was something then about this guy, who didn't seem to mind very much about his life going topsy-turvy. I guess I couldn't understand that. Not then. So I wandered off. I headed not for the solicitor's office, not for the real estate agent. I had better places to be, places where she herself had been, some 70 years ago, a lifetime ago.
The lane had overgrown considerably since my last visit. I wondered if I'd been the only one to traverse it in recent times. But I knew that when I achieved the higher ground around the lake, I would be mistaken, for the ground would be worked very roughly by boots and shoes. The weather was ever-changing today, and the lake its usual enigmatic self. Off in the distance a curlew flitted, then called, then the plaintive calls from lambs and ewes. Ranadale knots were awash in sky grey, as was the lake. How I longed to be out there upon Crummock Water. I thought at first of asking permission at the farm for the use of their boat. They'd long since indulged my eccentricities in that regard. They'd once even let me take it in midwinter with ice just forming on the lake's edge. They've been very kind to me when they might as easily not have been, yet they hesitate, wary, I gather, of my reputation as regards my lonely wanderings and my nonconformist ways. They're decent folk, though, and not easily bullied into mindlessness. I decided against the boat, for darkness would be upon me soon, and as much as I would have enjoyed the lake in the gloom, it would not be seemly for me to ask for it at this late hour. I placated myself by standing upon the stones at the shingle beach and tossing them one by one into the lake. I calculated the amount of stones needed to either fill up the lake or build a mountain as high as Grassmore across the water. I stared out upon the lake for a goodly time. I can't express myself tonight. My words cannot speak my thoughts, as so often happens. Better silence, though, than some honey-coated couplet dripping treacle out of my pen. Better the wind and the rain than words so precious as to float from off the page. As I entered the lane again, I thought of how wrong I'd been. From this vantage in this light, the lane seemed well-worn and quite appropriate for easy travel. I slowed my pace to savour the last moments of another evening beside my favourite lake. As the lane stretched out before me, I thought of our warm fire and my mother's soft voice in the kitchen as she whispered and gently sang her life. My reverie was ended at the end of the lane when a wretched branch twisted my hair into a tangle and caused me much concern as I gently struggled to extricate it from the unkind foliage. My grandfather would say it was a nymph or a sprite awakening for the night. Perhaps it was. Such things are yet not unheard of in this part of the country. It's late and I tire. Good night, sweet life.
This is the diary, the journal of Leslie Danforth on the 14th day of July in the decade before the turn of the new millennium. I've never written a diary before. I'm shamed into it by a woman named Fiona, who wrote so endearingly of her life and who I've grown to love in these couple of days. My time is short, however, and her journal is not large, few crumbling pages. But I hear this woman. She speaks to me, only to me as it happens. maybe someday, these words, my words, will speak to someone.
Morning.
Good morning to you.
How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. And you?
Oh, great. Slept well last night.
Oh, that's good. Are you hungry?
Yeah. Oh, no. Look, you've got enough work to do before you make another breakfast for me.
It's no bother.
Really, I'm going to survive on toast and coffee. Thanks very much.
It's no trouble, really.
Look, you're up to your elbows in nuts and bolts and things. I'm going to be fine, really. I would like a favor of you, though.
Sure.
I'm having trouble with some of the place names in Fiona's journal. I can't find any of them on the maps here.
All right, well, let's have a look at it then.
Okay. This one right here.
Trifle Brow.
Right. See, I can't find it on any of these maps.
That's because it's called Hope Beck these days.
Oh, really?
All right, let's see. Right, there it is, right there.
Oh, good. I got it. Thanks very much.
Sure, no trouble.
You ever go walking?
What, in the hills, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, aye, mostly on the weekends, mind you.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I came here for the hills, you know.
Oh, yeah?
Somehow I got stuck down here in the valley fixing folks' motors. Mm-hmm. Keeping them on the road.
Well, maybe someday you can, go back up there.
Aye.
What's your favorite walk?
Now, that would be telling, wouldn't it?
Would it?
Oh, I think so.
Oh, well.
It was all going to be mine, you know. It was meant to be mine.
What?
She was going to leave it to me.
What? The mill?
Aye.
What am I supposed to say to that?
Well, I don't know. I haven't a clue, but I thought you should know in the end.
Well, this is... Can you prove it?
No. She never wrote nothing down, you see.
No, there was never a will of any sort.
Aye, she wouldn't be trifled with it.
That's why they had to hunt me down.
I suppose she thought she was going to live forever.
Yes.
How well.
Yeah, well.
Well, I'll be getting back to me work now.
Hey, wait a minute. What am I supposed to do now?
I don't know. Sell the mill, I suppose.
And what about you?
And who wants to know?
Well, I do. I mean, now look, you lived with her. You knew her. Didn't she ever give you anything? Oh, did she ever write anything down? Give you a letter of intent or something?
No. You're missing the point, you see. Miss Fiona never wrote. She never wrote at all.
What do you mean she never wrote at all?
That's it. She never wrote. Never. Not since I knew her, not since anybody could remember.
But this is her journal.
No. I think you got the wrong person. Miss Fiona never wrote. Never. Now, I don't know what it is you got in your hands there, but I wouldn't wager me weekly earnings on it if I was you.
No.
Right. Well then, I'll be getting back to work then.
Yeah.
I'll be saying good day to you then.
Good day.
I felt it coming over me very slowly. It was then I knew what they meant. It was like a wave, softly sweeping over me. I'd held back the tears for so long. No, that's wrong. I never needed to cry. Not for the divorce, not for having to make my own way after so long, not for anything. Couldn't remember the last time I'd cried. But now they came, ever so slowly. I was grateful for that. If I'd started sobbing, he'd have heard me for sure. Then my emotional stew would have had a few more ingredients to deal with. As it was, I had only a few tears to Fiona's 100 tears. But I didn't count on my own. I just stood there, gently crying, clutching her journal. It had to be hers. The clanging from the workshop helped me focus again. I didn't want to think about the mill, this mill that wasn't a mill anymore. I didn't want to think about him All I wanted now was to get away from there, to get out into the hills, to walk where she had walked, whoever she was. I spent the day drinking deeply from the most beautiful places I'd ever seen. And from her. Her words were like a drug to me, but I didn't devour them ravenously. I savored them slowly. I knew the thin volume I held in my hand all day would end only too soon. So I relished every nuance of her pen, every beautiful and terrible image of her thoughts. As I visited the places she wrote about, I felt a strange sense of yearning, though not for her, for something else I don't know. As I sat there in those places, in these deep green valleys, on the tops of these hills, I could almost feel the throbbing of life, I suppose, but always just beneath some thin veil, just beyond my reach. The quieter I became, the clearer it got, but never more than some subtle rhythm underneath the pounding of my heart, the rushing of the blood through my veins, the scheming and plotting in the labyrinths of my mind.
My restless heart could measure no song. In uneasy mood and pensive thought, I made my way past Micklebrow, past Shepherd's Meet, and all these sweet landmarks of my youth. I had need of the solace and respite that only my special place could afford. As I strode with unhurried but steady ease, my thoughts could not be bound nor contained by my corporal host. I rushed ahead in thought to my safe harbour, where I might balance the sudden possibilities of my life. As my pace quickened, I could not fully comprehend the depths of the decision I must make. I struggled to wait until I had achieved my place before I gave full vent to my confused and careless thoughts. Once attained, however, my hurried motive grew less frenzied. I stopped and looked around at this place. Had it been so long since I'd returned here? Fully 2 years, perhaps, since about the time I met him. And now, the man I had come to know had asked me to be his wife. The gentle wind turned to chill as I pondered my new minted prospects. To travel to another place with him, to a country we knew well as Canada, where many of us had gone before. To leave my beloved hills and lakes and to follow him to a city of power and possibility. The thought could not be easily engaged. To be swept along by his flight of opportunity to a place so unlike what I know, so unlike what I've come to love. My frightened heart spoke softly to me that day as I sat there upon my sacred ground. As my gaze played over the familiar contour of this my soul, I realized that this place, this special place, had fallen so low in my regard as to go unvisited by me for these many months. These months I'd spent with him. These months before he set off to test and struggle with his own possibilities. And now his letter. Come to me, my love. My love. Words transcend the truth. Thoughts preempt action. For we were not yet lovers, though loved, nor yet familiar, though desired. Come to me, my love. I knew then, I knew from the beginning, that my lonely heart would seek solace elsewhere, that I'd wager it all on the prospect of love. Too soon I'd welcome him into my arms again and follow him to a place he'd chosen to sing his life song. And now I know that I'll never return to this place again, except perhaps as a traveller, as a guest, though yet apart. I know that I might see, but never feel this place again.
I awoke this morning with a fuzzy head. The last entry I read in Fiona's journal hadn't surprised me. As vivid as her language was, and as active my imagination, I could almost see her sitting there in her special place as I half read, half slept last night. I resolved not to sleep again until I found her hallowed ground, her special place. But to do so, I needed help from him. Good morning.
Hello.
I'm going to need some more help.
Oh, yes.
Let's see. Shepherd's meat and micklebrow. See, I can't find any of them anywhere.
Well, I can't say I've ever heard of them.
Really?
Did you read about them in that book of yours there?
In Miss Fiona's journal, yes.
She couldn't write.
She wouldn't write.
And why's that?
I haven't the foggiest notion. I never really knew her.
Oh, I see.
Oh, but you did.
Aye, that I did.
For 10 years.
Aye.
And you never talk about her.
And that bothers you, does it?
I want to know more about her.
Which one?
What do you mean?
Your great auntie or the ghost in that book of yours there?
Both of them.
Aye, well, I reckon you just better have a seat then, hadn't you?
He startled me then, in a most unusual way. He talked straight for over an hour, told me all about her and a little bit about himself, how they'd begun as neighbors sharing a mill, a converted mill, and ended as good friends. I felt ashamed I'd made him speak at such length. I felt I was intruding in his memories, which were obviously fond and deep. He spoke endearingly, yet matter-of-factly about her and himself. There was no sentiment in his speech. I guess their relationship was based on the simplest of values, common courtesy and casual, though unerring displays of kindness for one another. What I learned about him in that time isn't worth writing about. He spoke of himself, but not at length and not in detail. But in that hour or so, though we spoke of other things, I learned more than a little about himself. What sort of person he was, more than anything else. When he seemed to have wound down, I stuck out my hand, which surprised us both. He took it, and we shook hands. It was a proper handshake, nothing more. A gesture of thanks on my part, and courtesy, I suppose, on his. As I rose to leave, he mentioned that Micklebrow might be in the Buttermere Valley. It was only a notion of his, but worth a try. I left him sitting there in his repair of the day, and went off in search of a place I was determined to find. I covered a lot of ground that day. Everywhere I went, I stopped to ask about these place names I sought. Everywhere. But no one had heard of them, not even the old-timers. As the day wore on, my quest paled somewhat to the beauty that I was a part of. I'd forgotten what it was like to walk alone. I mean really alone, without anyone else nearby. I talked to myself a lot, stupid, inane little things. But as time passed, I listened more, not to myself, but to the unfamiliar world around me. The bird song seemed different than back home. Oh, not that I'm an expert. The sun seemed to trace the same relative declination in the sky, and yet I felt feelings. Feelings I hadn't felt since I was maybe 9 or 10, so long ago, when the sky was bluer and the clouds were puffier, and magic was always a possibility. But I'm older now, and there are no fairy tales. As I sat on the ground exhausted, I cursed my morning confidence. I despaired of ever finding the place that I sought. Strangely, it didn't matter anymore. I had the journal still. I had her words, her thoughts. As I turned to one of the last remaining pages, yet unread, precious few left now, I didn't read long, for my spirit suddenly soared when I read a familiar name. The castle, Broom Castle. I'd passed it earlier today and would have just enough time to return before evening. I resolved to read her next entry there where she herself had walked and spoken and written.
I know this will be my last opportunity to walk upon these grounds. He's to come for me a week on Friday. My heart beats with no sympathy to time or rhythm. I'm filled to bursting with anticipation for my love. Yet I look solemnly upon the prospect of a new life elsewhere, and still again I despair for leaving the only world I've ever known and have come to love so dearly. These battered walls, what secrets they hold, what loves they contained. Surely simpler minds than ours. No thoughts of other places then, of uplifting one's very roots, of actually surviving across wide, wild oceans of questions unanswered and possibilities unmet. What lives breathed within these walls? What footfalls trod these stones? What sighs of maiden and shouts of men who watched over these walls to the surrounding hills? Who loved and wooed and won and lost here? Who spoke and who laughed? Who cried for sorrow and for joy? When came the king? When raged the battle? When fell the walls? Why fight for this place? Why make it a ruin? Why kill for it? Why die for it? I must cease lest my heart be rent in two. I choose person over place. No more the cold steel of loneliness. No more the unechoed laughter, the unexpressed thought. But in return, a little dry patch on my heart when I leave this place that will never heal, I fear. For I choose person over place. I shall laugh and sing, but will I think and feel? I grow weary, not of place, but of time. Time spent in pensive mood and darkened thought. I'd fly across that great ocean to be once again within his arms, to hear once again his tender song. But oh, how it wearies me to bid farewell to my soul's delight. But I mustn't dwell upon such things. I must meet my future wide-eyed and happily, with open arms. Only then can I find true happiness, without regret, when my life intertwines with another. It grows late and I must home to bed.
Took tea out to James this morning. I know he doesn't approve of my journal peeping. He's still not convinced that it really is my great-aunt's writing, but at least he's polite about it. He's even trying to help me find the place names I asked him about yesterday. Says there's a man in Keswick who might help me. Promised to find out for me. We haven't talked about his plans for when I sell the mill. Every time I bring it up, he's polite enough, but somehow the conversation always shifts over to me. He asks how my days have been. He's even, it seems, a little curious about Fiona's journal himself. Wouldn't admit it, though. But I see him perk up a little when I hint at what she had written. I asked him if he knew anything about her marriage and her husband, but he said they had never talked about her past or any past. She lived each day singly, he said. Funny thing is, I believed him. 60 or 70 years can do strange things to people. Anyway, I was off to the Branthwaite house. Fiona had gone there to visit the last remaining Branthwaite sisters for one last time. Her spirits seemed high when she wrote about her last visit to this house. I was glad for a little respite from the weary nature of her most recent thoughts. Here in the parlor of this house, she had tea with the Branthwaite sisters. The last I'd learned at the little post office had died in 1943, and having no surviving heirs, left it to the National Trust. I should have been so lucky, I thought. I marveled at the furnishings in the house, justly famous even in its own time. Its own time, stretching over hundreds of years, each successive generation of yeoman farmers, what's a yeoman, had taken their place in this little house. Now, in the care of the National Trust, it was open to the public to come in and traipse around and wonder at the lives of those who lived in such a place. As I walked aimlessly through the rooms, I found my thoughts going mostly not to the families who made this place a living home over the centuries, nor of the dozens of people who visited each day, but rather, I thought mostly of the three of them on that one afternoon. the two Branthwaite sisters, and Fiona. Fiona, escaping the dread of life in those times, the fear of being unmarried, alone, and unloved. My great aunt must have sat with mixed emotions as she watched the two sisters in the twilight of their lives and contemplated her fortune at another chance at love, or at least intimacy and companionship at her time in life. But who knows? Anyway, maybe the Branthwaite sisters were perfectly happy with themselves as company. Maybe they didn't need or even want some man about the place. But I knew what Fiona wanted, and she was prepared to pay a big price for her dreams. As I left the house, I realized I'd spent the better part of the day there. I found myself ravenously hungry. I made for home, that is the mill, unaware of what I was to find when I returned.
Oi!
Hi.
I've got him for you.
What's that?
That's Micklebrow and Shepherd's meat.
Right?
I had to go to Keswick for some spares. I had a word with the old gent I was telling you about.
And he knew.
Aye, in a flash.
Where are they?
You got your mop?
Yes.
Let's have a look at it.
Right here.
Right. There, at Gates Garth, used to be known as Micklebrow.
Gates Garth.
Aye, hard by Buttermere there.
Huh? And Shepherd's Meat?
Just up the fell a bit over there at Scarth Gap.
Scarthgap.
Aye.
I can't thank you enough.
That's all right. Had to go to Keswick for spares anyhow.
Well, anyway, thank you very much.
That's all right.
I
Shall we say
swear
goodnight?
he was chuckling to himself as he turned and walked away. I paused for only a moment myself, however, as I was determined to make an early night of it. I wanted to be well rested for what promised to be an eventful day for me. No time for much chat today. As I passed him by the garage, there was a brief moment as we waved our greetings, when even at the distance between us, I sensed he knew what was to come. Maybe he was only being cautious of the whole thing, my devouring her words so, my obsession with her thoughts and desires. I'm sure as I write this that he had no real idea of what would happen that day, but I'm equally sure he had a feeling for it, a premonition, perhaps. As it happened, I was far too excited to give it much thought. Today was the day. I'd find her special place if it took till nightfall. Now all I was given a vital clue, there would be no stopping me. Little did I know just how soon my quest would end, but at that moment I walked confidently and steadily to a place I knew was somewhere very near, a place I would recognize the moment I found it, a place that would become as special for me as it had been for her. Fool that I am. Did I think it would be so easy? Did I think it would be signposted the entire way? No matter. Though my body tired as the day wore on, my spirits remained high. I had passed through some rugged terrain in the days that came before, but little of my previous wanderings could prepare me for what was to follow. For the path through Micklebrow, now called Gatesgarth, led upwards, up to Scarth Gap, formerly known long ago as Shepherd's Meat. And beyond that point I knew then that her special place, Fiona's sacred ground, would be somewhere upon the rock-strewn and heather-tasseled top of haystacks, those cones of rock so formidable from below and so fascinating from above. But I didn't know all of this at the time. As I huffed and puffed my way to the heights, I thought only of putting one foot in front of the other and of my reward when I had attained my goal. The ground became quite rough, with boulder-strewn obstacles in my path. As I picked my way over and through the rocks, I glanced off to the hill called Fleetwicks Pike and prayed my destination would carry me to a place closer and less formidable than that pointed rock. Once I had achieved Shepherd's Meat, I saw the thin outline of my path painted upon a steep side of slippery scree. It was all falling into place now. The little clues she had left, perhaps they weren't clues after all. Perhaps I was making too much of this, but by now my route finding was unmistakable. Somewhere upon the hills called Haystacks was the place I was seeking. Walking gave way to climbing as I struggled to trace the indistinct path, but the guidebooks had warned me of this. Press on, undaunted, they said, till you reach the top. I hadn't reached the summit yet, but I knew from the moment I saw that jewel of a tarn set on that rocky shelf that I had reached my destination. Each time she spoke of this place, she'd given me enough clues, and now that I was here, they were unmistakable. The sharp rock in the water, the stony wall behind, the prospect of the surrounding hills, pillar, great gable, Fleetwith Pike, and the view down to the valley below, with Buttermere and Crummock Water in the distance. I walked lazily around the perimeter of this beautiful little gem, drinking in every little nuance of her favorite place. Sometime later, perhaps as much as an hour, I was ready. I'd satisfied myself this indeed was her special place, and that I was ready to continue my headlong obsession into her life. Then it happened. It was one of those terrible flashes, just a glimpse. The split second before you see the door slam on your hand, the desperate lunge for the bottle tottering off the table's edge, the instant the roller coaster plunges without you, the fraction of a second after you realize you uttered an unconcealable lie, the stab of adrenaline when fearful thought becomes action. Call it premonition, call it chance, but occasionally the thin veil of reality can tear slightly and expose a rare moment of what? Truth? This time it happened when I opened the book to continue my reading. As the pages randomly flitted through my shuffling fingers, for one ever so brief instant, I glimpsed a flash of pure white, or faded yellow as it was. My heart was stabbed with a deep twitch of apprehension. I froze instantly. No, it couldn't be. I was near the spot in the book where I had last read. I knew it. By now I could feel the balance of the pages left to right, read and unread. And just then a possibility I'd never even considered had suddenly become evident to me. Slowly, ever so slowly, I reopened the book to where I thought I should be. There it was. A completely empty page spread out before me. Wordless, thoughtless, lifeless. No, I said, perhaps out loud, I'm not sure. No, it can't be. Ever so slowly, I leafed backwards to find my way to the words, back to her. I found her. There she was. She was here. My elation was brief, however, for I knew I had read almost to this point already. I took a breath and continued backwards, page by page, and my heart sank once again on the very next page, a page I recognized. I'd read it the night before. It took a moment for the complete reality to sink in for me. Long before I was prepared, I had come to the last page she had written. My mind raced erratically. There must be another journal. No, there are plenty of pages left in this one. Maybe another volume somewhere. But if so, not to be read by me. One more page. A couple of minutes left. I felt her dying. Again, like she had 2 months ago. Dying for me. Dying for real this time. I stared out at the surrounding fells for a while before I read the last page. A calm settled over me. That strange mix of sorrow and possibility again. It was the last page. A breath near the end, but a page it was. A page unread, one page of possibility. Slowly I forced my eyes to the book. I began to read. This will be my last entry. My weary heart can weep no more.
A fortnight has passed since I last wrote, a time of confusion and remorse. They buried him today in the little churchyard in the Vale. He died before I ever saw him again, before I could tell him my answer, before I could tear myself from the places I've loved and give myself to him completely. The letter was simple. Lost at sea, deep regrets. A part of me died when I read that letter, that lonely page of my unhappiness. I now know the answer to my dilemma. Person over place, I had made the right decision. For the loss of my beloved hills and valleys could never be measured against the utter despair I have felt these last few days over the sudden loss of my loved one. My as yet unloved one, yet loved in spirit and in soul. I grow weary of this place. Strange, I suppose, but I shall never return here. My grief has become an unutterable emptiness. I can shed not one more tear. A cold shroud has settled over me and dulled my every sense. I shall write no more upon these pages. My youth long since past, but once rekindled, I bury quick now with the last cruel vestige of my love. The ring he dispatched to me, sent ahead of his coming, an unkind memory of what might have been. I shall bury this ring with the memory of one I shall love till I die, the jealous love of desire unrealized, untainted by time or fashion, and thus doomed to be forever unequaled by person or place. I will love no more, person or place, nor shall I write any more in this tired little book. I shall kneel beside my errant rock, and when I bury my lover's token in its own watery grave, I bury my voice with his. If someone should happen upon this feeble history in the coming years, I bid you happiness and better fortune than mine own. I lived to love a goodly time. I waited long till past my prime. I know that now it will not be. Life's love is sweet, but not for me.
I spent the next day wandering through the little graveyards nearby. I hadn't inquired after his marker. I wanted to come upon it in good time. As I walked through those quiet places, I struggled with my feelings. Here in settings of incomparable beauty were quiet little scenes of true loveliness, lichened stones set within manicured green, flowers dotting the landscapes, quiet pierced only with birdsong, all surrounding plots of ground that most surely held the deepest, darkest sorrows of the human hearts who mourned over them. I knew I'd find it eventually. I was in no hurry. After a while in the afternoon, I found it. Growing out of the lush carpet of green, something made me kneel there beside it. I knew, as Fiona knew, that there was nothing beneath his stone. Lost at sea, they said. Nothing except her own lost dreams and desires. After a while, I don't remember how long, I rose and stood there a while before I left. Then, as I walked out of the churchyard, I knew that my journal too, my newly minted feeble attempts to convey my thoughts to paper, would also soon be finished. Only one more quest, but as always, in this entire affair, it would take more than just a little effort to achieve.
So did you find it?
How'd you know it was me?
The lady with the heavy foot. I know you anyway.
I did find it, yes.
In Kirk style, eh?
Yes. Oh, you knew.
Why?
But you never told me.
You never asked.
Thanks.
I know when to keep my mouth shut tight.
I do have another favor to ask you.
Why?
This one I'm going to need some help with.
I'll do my best.
I'm ready now.
What for?
For her. I'm ready to see her grave now.
I thought you would be. Well, she's not buried around here, you know.
Oh, I didn't think so. Figured I would have run across her grave, newly dug and all. Where is she?
Well, she's down Coniston way where her family's all on the ground.
Yeah, figures.
What's that?
Oh, it'd be too easy if she were in the next valley, wouldn't it?
Aye. She wasn't an easy one, that one.
No.
I've got another thing for you as well.
What's that?
Well, tomorrow's Sunday, isn't it? And the registry office will be closed.
Registry's office. Well, you don't know where she's buried?
No, not exactly.
You didn't go?
She made me promise.
What?
She made me give me solemn oath not to go to her burying.
Why not?
I couldn't say.
Didn't go.
No, I didn't go. But tomorrow's Sunday, isn't it?
Hmm?
I say, you won't be able to find her tomorrow, will you?
No.
So you can just come along with me then, can't you?
Where?
Well, I'll take you where she used to go. She'd walk around there when she'd a mind to it. I'd give her a lift and then I'd wait for her.
Oh, it's not Haystacks, is it?
Haystacks? What are you, daft? Haystacks? She was a flippin' monument when she died. She was 87 when I first spied her. Haystacks?
No, of course not.
You're surprised, aren't you?
What do you mean?
You wanted it all to yourself, didn't you?
Yes. Oh, maybe.
So, are you coming tomorrow or aren't you?
I'd be honored, James.
Right. Well then, get some sleep. You look completely knackered.
It's been a hell of a week.
Aye, I suppose it has.
Bye.
I'll be saying goodnight to you then. We were two of a kind, you see. We found each other. I found her at a time I needed some stability in me life, some purpose. She set me up, you know. She bought all that gear in me garage at the mill. I worked all me life. I didn't end up with much of me own. I lived 20 years in Australia, you see, working for me wife's father. Then when she passed, I didn't have the stomach for it anymore. She was everything to me. And after she died, it was like a flippin' foreign country, which of course it was. So then I packed it in and came back to Britain. Came up here to the lakes. The Reverend at my old church had a friend up here, Reverend Telkreld over at Buttermere. He took me in, gave me work, and then he fixed me up with her, with Miss Fiona. She saved me life, I've no doubt about it. I was in pretty bad shape. Of course, I figured I saved hers as well, a few years of it anyhow. They were fixing to send her away, you see. Said she was dangerous to herself. She had her turns. Damn near burned the mill down once, but she was all right. Just needed a little watchful eye, that's all. I figured the Reverend did a good thing putting us together.
I sat there and watched him as he continued with his story. Here was a man who had chosen person over place, just like Fiona. Only he'd apparently had 20 years with his loved one, 20 years more than my great-aunt. I suddenly realized something, sitting there and listening to him. something I couldn't have seen before now. This man here, James, had a lot in common with my great aunt, it seemed, not only in circumstance, but in temperament, in thought. And in a brief flash, I knew I had found her once again, she who I'd lost when her words ran out. She was sitting now in front of me, very much alive. Not the person I knew from her writings, and not the person he knew at the end of her time here, but somehow the person in between. The person in between the one each of us had known. It would be evening soon. A sudden chill of cold air made me shudder slightly. My Cumbrian holiday would soon be over. Unlike this morning, I now had mixed thoughts about leaving here. He must have sensed my thoughts, for he finished talking and rose to help me up, promising a hot meal when we returned. As we walked the path back to the car, I didn't want to think that in a couple of days I'd be winging my way over the Atlantic, on my way back home. The home that wasn't a home, a lot less so than the mill that wasn't a mill. But I chose not to think of such things as I enjoyed the rest of my day with him and looked forward to my final quest tomorrow. Registry office closed today on account of pipe fittings. Open tomorrow. What a country. But I didn't ride a bus for an hour and a half into the South Lakes to turn back now. I'd find it myself, just like I did everything else so far. Well, almost everything. This village was perfect for her. I can just picture her spending her childhood here. The place would have looked much different in those days, though. But the feel of the old village is still here. In the evenings, after most of the tourists have gone. Couldn't miss the church. Sits atop this great rocky hill on the edge of the village. Didn't take long to find her, either. I was glad this last little quest was so easy for me. I sat there a while beside her grave before I began this, my last entry in this, the only journal I shall ever write. I succeeded in erasing my mind of all the obsessive thoughts of my short time here these past few days in these most beautiful places. I simply sat there and listened. I tried to feel her presence through the ground, but with no success. She was gone now, cold, like the last empty pages of her journal. Bittersweet, but who'd have thought it would turn out differently? Come get your mill? Crabtree and Wilkins. After I sign the papers tomorrow and leave for the airport, this'll all seem like a dream to me, as it does now. Just a dream. It's too beautiful here. People weren't meant to live in a place like this. It's time for me to go home. Home. Tomorrow at this time I'll be high above the North Atlantic and thinking about a mill I owned once for a short time. A mill that wasn't a mill. A place I sold for money. I've no more to write. Someone should pick up these pages after I've gone. Think kindly of me. I was in over my head from the beginning. I tried to understand. I did my best. Sincerely, Leslie F. Danforth, August 1992. Here I come.
Thanks for the warning.
Anytime.
So you'll be off then, eh?
Yes. And I won't even ask you if you've made any plans for yourself. I didn't sleep very well last night.
Aye, I know. I saw your light, hon.
You did?
Aye. I couldn't sleep myself. I got up to make a cup of tea, but I was going to ask you if you wanted one.
But?
But I didn't.
Well, I'll be leaving for London now.
What, right now?
Yes.
What about the estate agent?
He won't be coming, nor will the workers tomorrow.
What's up?
I'm giving it away
What? The mill?
to the National Trust. Oh, you're going to be resident tenant, of course, manage the place. I just got off the phone with them. They seem pretty interested in it. Oh, I'm sorry, I know I didn't consult you, but you have to admit that every time I would bring up the subject, you would... What?
What would you be wanting for breakfast?
P.S. What can I say? I mean, I'm not an idiot. I'm out of this free and clear. No taxes to pay, no millstone around my neck. And above all, no damn guilty conscience. As I watched him walk into his kitchen, the kitchen he had shared with my great aunt, I felt somehow very proud. Proud of myself. Because this was the summer that I, too, chose person over place. The end, for sure, Leslie Fiona Danforth. Well, that's what the F stands for, but you'd have guessed that by now, wouldn't you? Good night. Sweet life.
As twilight falls, my castle calls to me across the sea, a distant land.